Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, everybody. Welcome back to another 1 p.m. PST YouTube stream. I'm your host, Strange Bird Jim, and today we're going to be getting back into some more Pega certification study. We have some Unreal study session after that. Um, we don't have any videos to upload or make public or anything along those lines, so we don't really need to worry about that. Um, So I'm not quite sure what I'll be doing for the chess chatting. I'm not prepped yet to do any work concerning the website right at this moment in time. I want to make sure that I get my second monitor up and running first before I tackle that. And uh, I need a longer HDMI cable to handle that right at this moment in time. So I have to wait. Um, and So I don't know. We'll see about that. And then we got Honkai Star Rail later on tonight. So hopefully, if that's anything that you're interested in, feel free to stick around on the stream. We'll go ahead and um, proceed through it all. Now, if you're just here for the Pega, like if you've clicked on this video, welcome. Hopefully, you are going to enjoy the series. We're a little late in the game if you're coming into this video like right now, um, because I'm getting very close to the end of the mission statement or the mission for the system architect certification. Now, I'm not going to say that we are ready for the certification for the system architect, not yet. So there's still going to be more afterwards. We're going to look at mock exams. We're going to be looking at um, studying up on uh, like we're probably going to like load up a instance and just start messing around with it maybe one day, just to kind of get a rough idea as to um, what you do. Try to remember everything that we've covered previously. Um, and um, let's see, and we're going to be like looking over what everybody's going to need to do or be prepared for when it comes to actually taking the test, whether it's at home or um, at the exam location. Okay. Now I haven't done the exam location when I took my first exam, first ever and only exam. It was online. It was only online because we were in the middle of the pandemic at that point. Um, so, um, you know, all the test taking facilities were closed. So there wasn't really any way for me to go to a test taking facility to take the test right then and there. But it was okay for me anyway because I had a stable internet um, and webcam and all that jazz. So it wasn't um, it wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, to do it online. Um, but let me explain who I am, what these videos are all about, what you can expect from them, and maybe we'll see what we can do about um, helping you out if you're interested in the certification process. Okay. Um, so first off, I'm currently a unemployed software developer whose last job was working in the Pega environment. Me and probably around like 20 others or so were put into a group to be trained by an authorized training partner from our company. However, um, pretty much every single last one of us went self-study. We were not too happy with the training partner. I mean, there might have been some exceptions here and there, but for the most part, everybody was really not thrilled with the guy. Um, and you know, before you say, "Oh, it must be you, the students, that's the problem," and it's like, well, here's the thing. When he was making so many mistakes that even his coworkers were able to see that he was making mistakes, then you know, it's not just affecting us, it was affecting his own coworkers as well when he was making mistakes. Then, I feel that that's a problem. We addressed that it's a problem. The coworkers knew that it was a problem, but nothing was really ever done. We asked to be placed back. Quite a few of us asked to be placed back into a training cycle. You know, yeah, whether it's back into a Pega training cycle or one of the other training cycles that the company had. We asked to be put back into one, and well, um, they um, they denied that. They said no. So they wanted to get us, and in their mind, they trained us enough to send us out as a contractor out into the workforce. And personally, I find that very, uh, if they're a company that's trying to focus on quality, then well, they just failed on that. So because we were showing the fact that we were having difficulties with the professional. I mean, our test scores probably could have shown that much, um, but nothing was done. I was asked to, or actually, I was told that I needed to take the certification exam um, for 8.6, and by that point, I was full self-study. I had not covered all the material for it. I told them that I was most likely going to fail, but they said, you're either going to take it or you're going to be let go. So I had to take it, um, which I failed. I knew that I was going to fail. I got close to passing, sort of. I missed 6 more questions than the bare minimum. It's not exactly something to be aiming for, the bare minimum, but um, but I failed it. But I never took the certification exam again, and that falls on me. Um, I didn't continue with the self study, um, or at least, when I did try it, I wasn't really getting any kind of additional support. When I was pushed out into a contracting job, the coworkers that I had were pretty much, hands off. Hey, if you have questions, we'll answer them, but that's about it. Not to say that there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Some people can get away with that. Um, but I tend to prefer more of a mentorship program. An actual mentor. Um, I was trying to set something like that up so that I could you know um, go through the Pega Academy certification process and attempt to take it again and hope to pass it. But that never happened. I never got through all the topics and challenges and whatnot to face off the certification again. And well, here I am, unemployed. They laid me off. Well, I mean, they laid me and multiple others off at that particular moment in time. Um, it wasn't just me that was laid off. It was a number of contractors at that time was laid off. So, um, and they, basically let me go from there. They didn't really want to renew the contract after that. So, personally, I would have loved to have continued working, but I mean, I'm at the mercy of companies. So, um, you know, as much as I enjoyed doing the work, you know, working on multiple different projects, doing coding, and so on and so forth, so far my luck has not been with me in terms of holding said jobs. So, um, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure why, I do what is needed there, but I guess it's just not enough. So, um, you know, the fact that I've learned like, multiple different languages, just from going to, you know, companies themselves, learn Cold Fusion, I've learned um, Pega. It's like, I mean, what else am I gonna need to learn? Well, I mean, I'll learn whatever I need to learn. Okay. There's nothing, I will tackle any language if, if there's a job out there that basically says, hey, you're going to need to learn Ruby, then fine, I'll learn Ruby, you know, but at least keep me on for longer than a year. But, um, but I mean, that's something that I face, right? Okay, so that's about me. Um, the certification exam is, can be pretty tough. They will cover, all the subjects, all the topics. There's, it's, um, you know, 60 questions. You need to hit 65% on the certification exam to pass it. And when I took it for 8.6, there were questions in there that had keywords that were associated with Pega 7, not Pega 8.6. So, in our authorized training partner never prepped us for that either. So it's it is what it is. Um, but know that I'm not an authorized training partner. Okay, and this is not meant for an instructor-led training. If you want to take the instructor-led training, then go ahead and do so. You know, I would imagine that it's someone from Pega Academy that will be teaching you everything about Pega and the Pega environment. Okay, it is, I believe, like a 2-week course for around 5,000 bucks. It is not cheap and it is not a long course. Okay, they're gonna be throwing everything at you, including the kitchen sink. So you're gonna want to be taking a lot of notes, taking a lot of video recordings, and asking a lot of questions to prep yourself for the certification exam. So um, don't don't half-ass it because I mean that's a lot of money to be spending on that course. So now, concerning the business architect, it's done. Okay, if you're here for the business architect, and you're already, if you're still with me on this video, the business architect it has been completed. Okay, check out my playlist. Um, you know, I have a full playlist of all the, Pega topics and challenges. They've already been covered. These two missions and these two modules, they've already been completed. They're already up on my playlist. They're in order, so you can just kind of go, from the very top all the way down. Just, you know, look at my playlist, hit that first video, and you can go through every single last video, every single last topic, challenge, and so on and so forth, covering those two missions and those two modules. Okay, but I will mention, okay, these two modules, they barely cover, in my opinion, the Pega Express delivery. So if you're going to be taking the business architect, then you're probably going to want to take the mission for the Pega Express delivery and get yourself prepped for that. Okay, so I probably won't cover it because my main focus is getting the system architect certification. Okay, this is my main goal. Okay, if your main goal is business architect, then cover the Pega Express delivery. But we're going to be continuing on with the system architect topic. Yesterday, well, not yesterday. Didn't do any of the um, um, didn't do any Pega setting yesterday. But we did cover unit tests last time, 2 days ago. So we are going to go ahead and go into unit testing individual rules here. And, um, obviously, as you can see, won't take too long. We'll probably get through about 2 topics today. So unit testing individual rules. An incorrect rule configuration in an application can cause delays in case processing. To avoid configuration errors such as incorrectly routed assignments, unit test individual rules as you develop them. To expedite future rules testing, you can create reusable test cases from the unit test. You can test a rule with test data that you provide by clicking actions on the rule form toolbar. Let me. I addressed that I would deal with this particular um, uh, I figured that, I said that I would let them know that, or, send a suggestion in to fix um, um, the misspelling there, the punctuation error. So let me go ahead and address that real quick. Um, uh, Someone accidentally made a typo for clicking. Um, while streaming, I already had people snickering about the typo. Might want to consider fixing typo even on 8.7. That shouldn't affect your translations, so it should be an easy fix. Would recommend that you also check 8.8 and 23 if you just did a copy paste. All right. You can test a rule by you can test a rule with test data that you provide by clicking actions run on the rule form toolbar. For some rule types, such as binary file rules, Pega does not provide an option for unit testing. If the rule cannot be unit tested, the run option is not available. The appearance of the run rule window varies across rule types, so how you run a rule varies by its type. In general, however, the rules run by using data from a test page that you define for the test. Tasks involved for defining a test page include the following. Selecting a method for creating a test page. You can copy values from a thread of an existing clipboard page to the test page, creating a new test page, or reset the values of an existing test page. For more information about clipboard pages, see clipboard tool. Applying data transforms. For a reusable and expedited method of making decisions and calculating values, you can apply data transforms to set values for the test page. For example, to unit test a decision table, you can create a data transform to provide rules for the properties evaluated by the table rather than manually entering values when you run the rule. For more information about data transforms, see data transforms. Manually entering test data. In some cases, you can manually enter values to use. If you enter values for a test, the values that you enter override values on the test page. Specifying how service rules run. For services, you can also specify whether the service rule is to run in your session or is to run as a newly created service requester. The service is configured to run as an authenticated user. You're prompted for the username and password. To test a circumstance rule, ensure that the circumstances are correct for the rule. Otherwise, the system tests the base rule. When you run the rule, the system uses rule resolution. If you unit test a rule, there's a higher version of the rule. The system runs the higher version. After you run the test, you can also convert the test to a reusable test case that you can run at any time. For more information, look at that. Unit testing service rules and developing application and branches. So there's all those different topics that you can kind of look at as well if you want. But let's move on to the next topic though. Okay, let's see. Creating unit test cases for rules. For most rules, you can create a reusable test case by converting a unit test to a test case, configuring case details, and then defining expected test results with assertions, test conditions. When the test case runs, the test results are compared to the expected results defined for the rule assertions. If the rule results do not meet the defined assertions, then the test fails. Before you begin, unit test a rule and convert the test run into a test case. For more information, see this. So, optional. To modify a rule or class that is used for the test, in the upper right-hand corner of the definition tab, click the gear icon, select the rule or class, and then click Submit. If you're testing a strategy rule, then the component name and PZ random seed parameters are also displayed. If you change either of these parameters, the test case does not return the expected results. Okay, interesting. Maybe because it's kind of using a algorithm to make sure that, it associates the, values accordingly. I don't know. Component name, the name of the component that you are testing, and the internal parameter, which is a random seed for the split and champion challenger shapes. To prevent the test from being run as part of a test suite or from a REST service, on the definition tab, select the disable checkbox. The test case will be run only when you click actions run. In the expected results section, add assertions that define a expected results of the test. For more information, blah blah blah. On the setup and cleanup tab, configure the actions to perform and the objects and clipboard pages to be available before and after the test runs. You can also clean up the clipboard after the test is run by applying additional data transforms and activities. Click Save. In the Details dialog box, enter a label that identifies the test case. The test case identified is generated based on the label and cannot be modified after it is saved. Ain't that the truth? So, a little, it's close to a challenge here, but not quite. So, they do provide a little bit more details about, what you might actually see here. So, you know, it is what it is. Okay. Still got 10 more minutes, so um, uh, okay, this is feeling more like a challenge than it is like explaining more details here. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave this one alone for now. Obviously, they're including a lot of different topics here. So I mean, if you have the time, then I would recommend, you know, checking these out. You know, even though some of these might actually be topics that we've already covered. Bear in mind, okay? They're just saying, hey, you might need to go back and look at this information again. So, just want to let you know about that. So, um, okay. The next one in particular is called scenario testing, and it is looking like it is a very long topic, which I only have 10 minutes for, and this might actually take up a lot longer than what they're a lot longer than 15 minutes. Let's just say that. Um, so as much as you know, um, it's kind of unfortunate that this is more focused on um, hey, open a case type. It's like, you know, it'd be kind of nice if they actually did a little bit more um, explaining, or not explaining. I mean, don't get me wrong. Them, talking about the, how to go about, setting one up. That's okay. Personally, I would prefer an actual challenge on this, versus a, them just kind of telling you about it and just kind of saying, okay, well, you're gonna have to do it on your own time, you know. Um, Especially when the unit test is such an important process of any developers. Um, if you're a developer and you are working in any kind of programming field whatsoever, and if you're in the industry, you're gonna need to know how to go about testing your program out. Okay. Um, and while they're saying, yeah, you know, here's the steps to do this, it would have been nice to actually have a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Formality, an actual challenge, saying this is how you create a unit test because it is important. It's, extremely important to make sure that your code works properly. Okay. You know, now, I'm not going to say that I'm like Mr. Code Wizard or anything along those lines. Okay. Um, but in all of my, development experience, as much as it is limited, there's been only one time where I programmed out something, you know, uh, I developed a small program, I ran it, and I had no errors whatsoever, and it ran exactly how I wanted it to run. Um, that only happened once for me. Um, Now, sometimes it might have been like, like a simple syntax error, or it might have been like, hey, I missed a paren, a bracket, a semicolon. Who knows? Okay. I might have had like just one error along those lines. Okay. And it was a simple fix and it worked perfectly fine afterwards. Okay. But here's the thing. You're gonna need to test out your programs. Make sure that they are running exactly how, um, if you're getting certain input, and you're expecting a certain output, then you better hope that that input equals that output. Okay. Test out how your program works with different inputs. Okay. Um, check the minimum, check the maximum, you know, check the middle ground for it, put in some random values in there. Check, you know, input that, you know, you're not expecting. Like if you're expecting numbers um, and the input is including, alphabetic characters, then, check for that. If the input is including, both, you know, are both, alphanumeric, you know, then, make sure that um, make sure that you're testing for that as well, especially if the input is only for numerics, you know. So, it's on your shoulders to make sure that, your code is running perfectly fine. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're in um, a company that, has another group for testing, you might get it in your mind that I don't need to worry about the testing. I'll just do the code and send it on. Well, here's the thing. If you keep on sending, bad code, incorrect code to those testers, and they just like compile it once and go, wait, you have errors here, or something along those lines, then they're probably going to be coming back to you and saying, you're messing up our application with this, or you're causing us, you know, to waste time on these bugs that you're not squashing yourself, and they're quality assurance for a reason. They're trying to make sure that everything is running as properly as possible when it comes to them. And um, if your code is failing even on simple tests, then you're just making their lives a lot harder, right? Um, so now obviously it's dependent um, on the company, you know. Um, they might have people that are basically like, you send the code to us and we'll test it out no matter what. Okay. That might be dependent on the company. I'm not sure, but with the companies that I have worked for, which again have been few, um, you know, they they're pretty much expecting you to, get the testing done yourself. Okay, making sure that it works. You know, like, here's a problem. You need to code up a solution, and then you need to test that, you know, solution that you're putting in to make sure that it's actually running as, what the client wants. So if you're not doing that, then, well, you could be causing more, you know, unknown problems, you know. Like, how I've mentioned the fact that, I had that one login screen bug where, you know, the, um, I've mentioned this before, but it's, I mean, it's such um, it, it boggles my mind that it was left that way, that the, that the code that I saw, the code that was, in production, by the way, it was live. You can enter whatever email and whatever password um, into the username and password field, and it would accept it no matter what. There was no failure. There was no failure whatsoever on that login screen whatsoever. It would always pass no matter what username or password that you put in. And I was like, whoa, that's a problem. So, so yeah, um, there was clearly some, um, I mean, just that itself could have used some standard testing just to make sure that, hey, um, let me put in the username incorrectly. Oh, it allowed me in? Well, guess what? That's a failure. That kind of thing, right? So, so do your due diligence on that. So, but that's going to be it for today's Pega certification studies. Um, um, Tomorrow we'll go through the scenario testing, and that's probably going to be about it. Um, Saturday we'll probably go over the test coverage and the module quiz. And then, I mean, we're getting really close to the end here there, folks. So as you can see, we are on the module for testing your application. So Sunday would be testing your application challenge. Monday would most likely be this module here, which again is configuration sets and module quiz. So that's probably Monday, in that regard, right? I'm just kind of putting out like, the schedule for the upcoming days. So Tuesday would be the creating and setting application variables. Okay, so got that to kind of work on. And then that would mean that the Wednesday, or the upcoming Wednesday, we're going to have the mission exercise, which 3 hours. It's going to be a very long Wednesday, so be prepped for that. You know, Matter of fact, I'll probably let Blackheart know that I'm going to be dealing with the mission exercise here shortly. That's going to be an extended Pega session, so probably no Unreal, and it's probably going to get in the way of the gameplay as well. We'll see. And then um, and then Thursday will be the mission test. So we got ourselves some pretty hefty topics here pretty soon. So, but that's going to be it for today's um, Pega certification studies. Again, I have not received any additional emails from the Pega Academy. You know, especially one concerning the localizing the UI form. Still haven't gotten a reply back on that one yet. Um, I'm hoping that they do because, again, you know, I have yet to be able to complete their challenge on that. And if they're, you know, the fact that my attempts to have an actual translation have not worked. You know, I try to choose the file to select, and well, it doesn't import the translation file. You know, it does not upload anything in the translation file whatsoever. So, so we don't see the change in the translation, and therefore I cannot officially mark it as complete right at this moment in time. But I still haven't gotten any kind of email concerning it whatsoever at this time. I'm hoping that they will soon, because officially I can't, you know, I can't officially get this unlocked until everything has been completed. I'm not, I won't get the the mark saying that I've completed the, you know, uh, this particular mission until, that challenge is also completed. But I don't want to, I don't want to click it myself because I can't confirm whether or not it actually works at this point. So, but we still got, quite a bit. They say, 7 hours, 35 minutes left. 4.5 hours of that is these last two here, the exercise and the test. 3 hours here and 1.5 hours there. Um, so in reality, according to this, I have 3 hours remaining according to them. So, um, but that's it. Um, that's where we're going to go ahead and end it for today. So, we're going to be moving on to the Unreal studying, although I still haven't received any notification that Blackheart is prepping. So I'm not sure about that. We'll see. Um, but that's going to be it for today's session. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll catch you next time. But until then, take care, have a good night, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll catch you strangers next time.